what's up, everybody? My name is Chris Martinez, and I am the host of Operation Agency Freedom. And of course, in my day job, I am also the CEO and founder of Bloom, where we work with marketing agencies and provide management consulting and technology to increase profit, maximize your agency's value, unlock your potential, and achieve an 8-figure exit. And today, I am super stoked to have Luke, and I'm going to botch his last name, but I'm going to give it a shot anyways. Eggebraaten. How did I do?
Dude, you nailed it.
I nailed it. Luke Eggebraaten. There we go. He is the CEO and founder of Phaser Marketing. Luke is a serial dirt entrepreneur who currently resides in Gilbert, Arizona. He is the founder of Phaser Marketing, which focuses on digital marketing programs for construction companies. They specialize in working with 6-figure, 7-figure, and even 8-figure construction companies that need help taking their online presence up a notch. He is also the co-host of the Dirtbags podcast, one of the best names for a podcast ever, and is a partner in the drag racing company Turf Wars Racing. He's also the author of the book, The Digital Dirt World, which can be found on Amazon. So, welcome to the show, Luke. That was an amazing intro that you gave me for yourself. Congrats on all the success, dude.
Thank you so much, man. I've really been looking forward to this. I know you and I have known each other for a long time, and even before we hit record, we basically recorded a whole podcast, and so we had to slow down and say, let's get to it, let's hit record, and we'll keep it rolling.
Dude, so I think when I met you, I think you were probably in the $20,000 to $30,000 monthly recurring range, and I mean, I don't want to give away the number unless you're comfortable, but you basically tripled that. More than tripled that in, let's just call it 18 months, 2 years, which is incredible. And you're also such a young guy, I wish that I had what you have today back when I was your age. So let's just jump into some of the highlights. Well, no, before we do that, I want you to talk about how you started your agency, because, you kind of got started a little bit sooner than most folks do.
Yeah.
So how did you get into it in the first place?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Chris. And to start as well, I am fully transparent with everything. And also, if anyone's listening and wants to know more and has a specific question, they can reach out to me at any time. And I am completely an open book. So as you mentioned just there, we had met. So I joined the group, the 7-figure agency. We're doing 8,000 monthly recurring revenue. And that was in November 2021. And then I think you and I had met probably at the next one or so, and we were at about 20K. But to back up at how we got to that stage, so I went to college, got a 4-year degree. I heard you say this on a podcast, we aren't MBA Harvard grads.
Right.
I got a sport management degree.
I love sport. I got a minor in sport management, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I got a minor in marketing, and I just loved sports. And so I wanted to be the GM of the Minnesota Vikings and do that whole thing, and worked for a minor league baseball team, worked for a couple colleges, and just this is an important piece of advice for somebody looking for what they want to do. By doing things, it's not always what you want to do, it's finding out what you don't want to do. And that can help streamline to where you want to be. So realized quickly that I'm a huge fan of sports, but the sports business world really wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to take that into marketing, and I got my first full-time job right out of college in 2018. I was the director of marketing at a small orthodontic practice in Omaha, Nebraska. And contrary to how a lot of people start their businesses, I loved my job. I absolutely loved it. I loved my boss, Dr. Stevens. He's the man. And we just hit it off. However, I knew I wanted to start my own business at some point. So like a lot of people, you need to pay your bills. And so I knew that if I wanted to ever start this business and see it succeed, I would need to start it on the side, run it on the nights, weekends, lunch breaks, just so I can learn the ropes, build up the business bank account so that one day I could go full time. So from 2019, October 24th, I got my LLC papers. To then August 1st, 2021, I was doing both. So I was working full time. I had a 50K salary or so, worked up to that, but never took a penny out of Phaser Marketing. So I had really learned a ton about how to manage clients, how to invoice clients, how to deliver results, how to hire contractors. And then my wife, Olivia, she got a job at Carvana, which
Mm-hmm.
moved us down to Arizona here. That was kind of that point where I was telling somebody at the bar, I was like, yep, we're moving to Arizona. I'll probably get another, job and all this. And they're like, why don't you try going full time with Phaser?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know. I guess I never thought of that. And I think I was just a little nervous,
Yeah.
honestly, of like, I always wanted it to be that side hustle and that hobby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, screw it, let's do it. We had about 7K in the bank account, in the
Mm-hmm.
business bank account, and
Mm-hmm.
then recurring revenue, probably about 5 or 6K. And so I knew, okay, if I pay myself $1,000 a month, we should be okay, right? We should be able to build it up from there, especially going full time. And then shortly after that, in November, I was invited to this coaching program called Seven Figure Agency. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
had recommended a book to me, and I just needed that mentorship and that coaching to kind of surround myself with, because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
So I went there, and then that is, I would say, really where my journey starts,
Okay.
because that's where I started to understand how to run a marketing agency. And then
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet all of our wonderful coaches, and I got to meet you, and
Mm-hmm.
I got to really understand all the ins and outs of how to run an agency. And just because I understand the surface level of how to understand it doesn't mean I'm an expert at every single piece. So I think one thing that I could accredit some of the success to is just knowing when to step away and bring somebody else in,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that I can't be the expert in everything, but I can have a good foundational knowledge of the business.
Yeah, that's great, man. So I have one immediately as you're talking about being in the bar and your friends telling you like, "Hey, why don't you do this full time?" Did you have that doubt, or maybe it didn't click on you that you could do that because you saw yourself more as an employee and not necessarily an entrepreneur? Or like, why do you, looking back, like, why do you think that that obvious path wasn't as obvious back then?
Yeah, I would say no to that. I would say I definitely felt like an entrepreneur, but I 100% what I felt like it was is, you kind of have this safety net with the job. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's
100%. Yeah.
Luke's doing this cool thing. He's like doing marketing, he's selling hats, he's doing that, but it's easy when you're not taking money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to think like my wife and I's income, and she had a great job, of course, which
Right.
helped a ton, but now my income is going to be pulled out of this fun little business. That kind of scared me of taking from what I was trying to grow, if that makes sense. And I was a
Mm-hmm.
little nervous that, like, okay, well, if I pull from this thing that's growing, how am I going to grow it? But it's
Mm-hmm.
almost the opposite. It's like you have to dive into it and pour into it to then keep it rolling. And I'm definitely a big proponent of paying yourself as the CEO and paying
Yeah.
yourself a very good, livable wage that would match up if you hired anyone else. And that
Yes.
can really just help your business conform to what an actual business would run like if you weren't there.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I'm very, very glad that you learned that lesson like early on, the idea of paying yourself what you would pay somebody else. That's actually one of the things that when we work with agencies, a lot of the times we see that the owners are not paying themselves enough. And I tell you one story, I won't tell you the name, but like there was a couple that came to us, and I think that combined they were paying themselves like 100 grand a year, like 50
Mhm.
grand, 50 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, this business had already gotten to $3 million in revenue, and they were actually pretty profitable.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I think this is kind of like an agency owner thing, is where we think that we have to pay other people, or maybe subconsciously we feel like we don't deserve this much money or something like that. That's a weird agency owner thing, because if you look at other industries, real estate, for example, they have no paying
Problem.
themselves. They have
They
no
have no
problem
problem.
paying themselves first. And like I'm not saying that one extreme, that extreme is better, but like we do deserve to get paid. Like we're
Yeah.
helping businesses, especially with marketing, as long as if you're delivering, we're helping so many of these other businesses to grow and scale and generate revenue. It's okay for us to get rewarded for that individually, you know? So that was a big thing that you learned early on, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And I would say to that too, for people listening, there's definitely levels to it, because I
Hmm.
learned that early on, but also I just recently, years later in 2024 here, we took our first big distribution out of the company, because I
Nice.
just and which is such a blessing, but same kind of thing that you're saying. Like, oh yeah, keep it in the business. We'll hang on to cash. We'll do all this, but then everyone around me, even our CPAs, like, you got to bring this home and do something with it.
Right.
And so kind of getting over to pay yourself more and to take it home, and especially to bless your other employees as well, but
Hmm.
making sure that you are taking a good chunk of it home and doing something with it and living out your dreams.
Yeah. So, like you're doing, do you mind if I share the revenue, by the way?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Please.
you're right around 90 to 100,000 a month, which is amazing. From 8,000 up to 90, 100,000 in 3, 4 years, like, is just absolutely incredible growth. You as a leader, what have been some of the big transitions from you as the business is growing, where you now look back and you're like, wow, like I've transitioned a lot. Like, I've grown a lot as a leader. Not just as a marketer, but as a
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah, I think I love that question because I haven't grown much as a marketer, I would say, as I have a leader.
Mhm,
And so as we started the business, as we went full time, that was a big step, of course. But for the last couple years, we've always been primarily white label and
mhm.
having a good amount of consistent subcontractors on our team. And
Meaning,
then
sorry, meaning that you've used white label partners to help with fulfillment, right?
exactly.
Okay,
Yep. So
cool.
we had,
Just want to clarify.
yep, two white label partners to help with fulfillment. And then
Mhm,
that middle level were like consistent subcontractors that I
mhm,
would work with for the last couple years. And when we got to March of this year, right when we hit 7 figures, it was my goal to then start offboarding white label and bringing it in-house to
mhm.
start building our own team. And that has been a huge leadership shift, but something that has been so rewarding. I find myself getting way more excited about our team's personal finance and
Mhm,
our team's goals and our team's places they want to travel and things like that, and just,
mhm.
okay, let's talk about this, because then we can set goals in the business to help
Mhm.
you get there.
Right.
Like, if it's not going to, I'm not able to give this to you right now, but if we all work together, like, we can get there. We can do almost anything together.
Mhm.
So being able to be there for them and help them dream just as much as I'm dreaming is very rewarding. But also too, I I always feel like I'm in the trenches with them respectfully, because they
Yep.
are the ones cranking on fulfillment, managing the team, doing all this.
Mhm.
I am not doing that. However, I'm in the trench right next to you, doing everything else from the sales to the building the business and the brand, making sure we have enough to pay our team and more. And just, I love that camaraderie. Our team is so positive and just hardworking, and it is infectious. And so I think if you can bring that infection into your company in a positive way, where somebody else on the team is grateful for being remote, somebody else on the team is grateful for the job that they have and the work that they get to do, all of a sudden the person next to them working on the team, isn't so upset about their spotty Wi-Fi, or isn't so upset that their AC just went out. It's like, man, this is pretty cool that we get to all work together from all across the world, and we get to, like, not hate our job. Like, this is quite this is pretty awesome. So I think just seeing that from our team and being able to, like, continue to pour gasoline on that has
Yeah,
been awesome. And I'm very, very excited for this year and the years to come as well.
that's awesome. So, around how many team members do you have, like contractors, and also, I don't know if you have W-2 yet, but like, how many people do you have on the team?
Yeah. So in March, we had one W-2 full-time employee and
Mhm,
myself. And
mhm.
now we have six W-2 full-time employees plus myself.
Wow.
And then we still work with, I'd say, one bigger white label company that helps
Mhm,
with our website building. And that will likely, in the next year or so, maybe be something that we look at, but we didn't want to do things too quickly.
mhm,
And then we also have probably 5 or 6 contractors that have worked with me the last 4 years or so.
mhm,
And simple hourly base pay, like 25 bucks an hour, keep track of your hours, send me an invoice at the end of the month.
mhm.
And those people have been incredible to work with, because they know the business, they know me. They just do their thing, they do their job, they do it very well, but they're a part of the team just as much as our W-2 employees are. And
Absolutely.
but they just don't get paid 40 hours a week. It's sometimes 20, it's sometimes 10, it's sometimes 35, but they know that I've got their back, and they, of course, have had mine for this whole time as well.
And your team members, are they all remote or are they all in Arizona? Combination of some
Yep. So
in-house and out.
everyone is remote. I'm
Okay.
shooting this podcast from my house. This is my office,
Yeah.
and it realistically, I would love to have an office, but I just don't think I would ever be there, if I'm being honest. And
Right.
I think we will always be remote. Our team loves the flexibility. However, we're going to start planning in some phaser trips where we all get together and we mastermind, we meet
Yeah.
up
Heck
and
yeah.
we set goals and we hit them and we bring our plus ones together. And so we're very excited for that. But we've got 4 employees in the United States here,
Hmm.
and then 2 in Colombia, and
Hmm.
then 1 in Serbia, and then some contractors across the United States as well.
That's great. Now, what I really, really love is this isn't a huge like KPI for marketing agencies, but that revenue per employee, like your revenue per employee is really, really good because you've been able to build the business without having to bring on a lot of staff, which is awesome. You know,
Yeah,
in
and
theory, that should create a lot of gross margin for you, so you can
absolutely. And
invest it.
I was talking about this right before I think we hit record, but
Hmm.
that's been one of our focuses when with bringing our team in house here is, for one, having more control over our results and just being able to have our finger on the pulse with a full-time team.
Hmm.
2, to increase our profit margins. Like, we even
Yeah.
tell our clients that that's why we're making this move, is to increase our profit margins, and we're seeing it too. We were probably in March and before that around that 40% gross profit.
Hmm.
And I've heard a lot of advice from a lot of coaches, and usually you can find the problem in the gross profit. And so
Yes.
ours was pretty low, of course, and we knew that. And so now over the last few months, we're probably hovering around that 55%. And things have really opened up to, like, our business hasn't changed or gotten worse. It's gotten much better.
Hmm.
And we're like, okay, I think our target right now is to get to that 65% and then somewhere in that 35% net. But it's all a journey. It's all a work in progress. Like, we're not going to get there day one. And so it's been really cool seeing the transition, but also seeing the growth even in the last 4 months here.
Yeah, that's great. Like I'm once you get to 30% net or better,
Yeah.
that's when the company valuation also starts to go up tremendously. So if you can get to $1 million in
Mhm.
net, like the number is over 1 million, and if you can do a 30% plus net percentage, that's when you start to see some really good multiples for the agency. And if you ever decided to sell, which that will happen one day, might
Yep.
be 2 years, it might be 10 years, who knows? But whenever that day comes, you will be able to get a really, really nice margin. So shoot for that.
Yeah.
That's my advice on that.
And I love it too, because obviously I love what we do. I love Phaser, everything about it. And people always ask, like, would you ever sell it? Like, is that something you'd ever do? And I always have the same answer. It's like, everything is always for sale, no
Yeah.
matter what. Because if somebody comes to you and you love what you do and they give you an absolutely out of this world ridiculous valuation,
Hmm.
like, you have to at least consider it, because I think it's selfish not to consider it,
Hmm.
because you need to think about more than just yourself and think about your family and your kids and your grandkids and your team. And so
Hmm.
I love the thought of just, yeah, I mean, it's probably a no, but
Yeah.
everything is always for sale if the right situation ever came around.
One of the things that we say is to build a business that you don't want to sell. And
Yes,
then for somebody to actually take it off your hands, they're going to have to make a ridiculous offer,
I love that.
like, so that's another like little tidbit there for you. We only have about 10 minutes. I want to go deeper into the niche
Yep.
because you have a very unique niche. And there are some people, even in 2024, that say, I don't want to pick a niche, which I think is absurd. Did you always start off in the dirt niche, or was that something else that you learned along the way? And then how has that also being in this niche, how has it transformed the agency?
Yeah. So our very first client was a real estate agency. I mean, we were digital marketing for small businesses, just like everyone who starts out, just like anyone listening right
Yep.
now. It, we were
I
the
can I
same
can do
thing.
one worse. My agency, our niche at the beginning was solopreneurs. So
Oh,
like
that's,
people with no money basically. So yeah, I would
that's
say that's
tough.
worse.
So we, our first client was a real estate agency, and our second client was one of my good friends from high school. He owned a demolition and excavation company,
Okay.
and his name's Luke as well. And so we started doing his stuff. And then our third is an oil field company because they saw the ads that we were running for the excavation company. And then, probably the fourth client was like a garage door company. So
hmm
all of a sudden we have 4 or 5 clients, and I'm like, okay, I like the blue collar type feel.
hmm
We can make a big impact because their marketing is terrible. I like the industry a bit more because they're literally helping this country as far as like the utilities and making this thing run and
Yep.
operate. But then the third one, the big one, is they can afford, they're used to cutting these big checks. They're used
Yes.
to big prices on equipment. So that was a big factor I needed to consider. And so we kind of grew that up. And then we had a couple other random clients, some good friends that had companies like in the party bus industry and, and some other fun niches. But really, it wasn't until 2021, we had about 8 clients,
hmm
and I made the commitment and we said, if we are going to make an impact on our team, on my life, on our family's life, on an industry, we need to niche down and stick to it and invest in that industry. And
hmm
to me, honestly, our journey was a lot easier. By that point, we had 4 or 5 excavation companies.
hmm
I said, let's do it. We cut out any other clients that weren't in the construction industry.
hmm
And then we also cut out all project work. So only monthly recurring revenue work, no more websites unless they were in our program.
Yep.
And from that day forward, it was probably late 2021, we turned away a lot of money, which is a little scary, but we had the vision of we're going to invest into this industry and the people within this industry, not for myself or not just for myself, but for them as well. And since that day, it's changed my life. It's changed our business. And I would like to think it's changed a lot of lives in the industry as well from some of our clients. And we have some of the best clients in the world. I would put them against anyone. We have about 55 clients in the excavation space all
hmm
over the United States, and they are some of the most kind, respectful, nicest, most badass business owners out there. And I feel so lucky and blessed that I get to call them our clients. But at the end of the day, too, it's almost like we're all just business partners together because it's bigger than just marketing. And so I think we're more of a problem solving company, and we do so in the form of digital marketing.
Yeah, that's great, man. I love your passion behind the niche. It's rare for me to actually interview somebody who's in a niche that feels so passionately about their people, like their clients. And that's really, really cool. It shows, like I can tell that it's genuine and that you truly want to help these folks. And I would say, kind of selfishly from a business perspective, your customers are absolutely going to feel that too.
Um,
And I see so many people that are looking at a niche. This is one thing that I really admire about you is they'll look at a niche and they want to go after the sexy niches, like
yeah.
the med spas or the high-end real estate people or the fancy pants lawyers and things like that. I love that you got your hands dirty, right?
Yeah.
And I feel maybe it was easier for you because of your background and like you're in racing and maybe
Yeah.
you had experience living or being friends with people that were a little bit more blue collar. But it's great that you explored that niche because it doesn't necessarily have to be a sexy job. Like I think we've all seen the show like Dirty Jobs,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
that was amazing, that you were able to dive in there. So just before we end the show, I just want to ask you like some of the results that you're able to get with these folks. And the reason I ask this is because there are a lot of people that think that like, "Well, what can I possibly do? Like these people don't use internet marketing to get new clients." So I wanted to see if you could disprove that with talking about some of the results that you've been able to get for your clients in the dirt industry.
Absolutely. So I would say first and foremost, most of our clients come to us because they see the websites we build and they're like,
hmm
those look awesome.
Okay.
And so it's not so much like I've worked with a ton of agencies. We need to hire you. Most of our clients have never worked with an agency. So they'll see,
Wow.
yep, and that's very rare as well. So I'd
That's
say
like
probably,
it's an untapped gold mine. It's amazing.
yeah, I'd say probably 90% of our clients had never worked with an agency. And so they'll come to us and say, hey, I see you work with all the dirt guys and gals. Like, I love what you do. Badass websites. Mine was built in 2017 from a local guy. how does this work? And then we discuss our programs and we say, I basically put them in a program, and SEO is a huge part of what we do. It's all built
Okay.
on organic. So number one, we build a badass website that is SEO optimized. And then that's part of the ongoing. Like, you don't have to worry about hosting it, making updates, doing all this planning for it. Like, we do all of that, and we're helping you grow your keywords. So that's how foundationally it starts. But a big piece that our clients are looking for that they might not even know they're looking for is the career page. Like, that is such a huge piece that we focus on. Is that's usually their biggest problem, is they don't need more leads. They need more people to come work with them.
Okay.
And so we focus heavier on the careers page, and we try and rank for those types of keywords as well. But as you know, businesses change. So it's like, you don't want to only focus on that. So we have this encompassing organic strategy where we're focusing on the applications and the careers page, but also, of course, we're focusing on their 5 main services so that work is always coming in and we always have the litter to pick from. And the awesome thing about this is, so most of our clients are in phase 1, which doesn't include paid ads. And we even have clients that'll do, 20 to 50 million a year, and they don't need the paid ads or anything. They're just in phase 1. But what's really awesome is they're so appreciative of our team and like all the graphic design stuff we do for free and all the like how we make them feel in the organization. But then all of a sudden, this happened last week. We're on a call with the client and they got a new, ping from the website, like an organic search, and it turned into a $1.5 million earthwork job.
Wow.
And they pay us $1,500 a month. And so it's difficult for us to calculate ROI because it's such a lucrative industry, but at the same time too, we don't deserve the credit either. We're just helping them, that last 10% of helping people on Google find them, and then we let them take it from there. So that's our main strategy, is getting them ranked organically. Typically their competition isn't doing much on the digital side, but we can give them the firepower to get ranked, and then also to build confidence in any GCs or anyone looking at their website that, they're going to be the ones to go with.
Yeah. I will disagree with you on one thing. I think you said it's hard for us to show ROI. I would say it's hard for you to not show ROI.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the
Yeah.
attribution is challenging, but attribution is challenging across any industry. But what is really, really inspiring to me, and hopefully other people that are listening, is that you found a niche and you care so deeply about those people, and they value the relationship, right? Like, it's not like how many times did my phone ring last week, right?
Right.
Like, you prove that you can build a successful agency in a non-sexy niche and with people that actually care about you. Like, a lot of agencies think, oh no, they just care about, the ROI, and they care about how many times their phone rings. But no, that's not totally true. There are really, really good people out there that actually value the relationship.
Absolutely. And I think last point on that, I think it's how you tee it up at the beginning and where you set the bar, because we used to, promise the world and deliver something less than that. But now we don't do magic tricks, and we tell them that we do the marketing basics very, very well. And we set the tone that way. And it's a lot of trust and transparency. And then, let's do this thing together. And so how you set it up in the beginning and in the sales call and discovery call, I think is huge with the retention, and also how your client reacts to certain KPIs and certain metrics that they see.
That's great, man. Well, we're just about out of time. I do want to thank you so much, and I've learned a ton from this interview as well. And so, Luke, what's the best way if somebody like just wants to get in contact with you, or they want to listen to your podcast? What's the best way that somebody can find out more about you?
Absolutely. So the Dirtbags podcast, it's on all platforms. And so the second client I was talking about, Luke Payne, he is my co-host on there. So
Cool.
it is a very awesome, very fun podcast. So go check that out. I'm also on all social media platforms, specifically LinkedIn and Instagram. You can find my personal account or Phaser Marketing, the business account. I manage both of them. So if you DM that account, you'll hear back from me the same day. I'll give you my cell number so you can text me or call me, all of that kind of stuff. I always want to help in any way possible. So if there's any questions as you've listened to this interview, reach out to me. You'll talk directly to me. I'm an open book. I'm willing to answer anything. And then also just be an honor to, to meet you if you had been listening to this episode as well.
Luke, you're a stand-up guy. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show. And for anybody that's listening, I'm telling you, pay attention to Luke. He is somebody that's going places. He will be a big name in the industry. He's going to change the industry, I'm sure, revolutionize what it is that we're doing. So thanks again for coming on, Luke. And for all the listeners, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys tune into the next episode.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com or Instagram. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube. Finally, go to our website where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.